Inside Disc Golf.
Hello and welcome to Inside Disc Golf. I'm Andrew Gum.
And I'm Viktor Tågestad. This is episode 2 of our new podcast here on Disc Golf Stream. We are I'm saying it again, diving deep inside of European disc golf and especially the European Pro Tour. And we have one guy with us today who's going to help us with that.
And we have a special guest with us. He doesn't get more inside disc golf in Europe than having Juha Kytö, the CEO of the European Pro Tour, alongside us. Very happy to have you with us. How are you today?
I'm good, and thank you for inviting me to this new podcast. I listened to your first episode, and it was really interesting to, get to know you better. Of course, we have met multiple times here, but I'm quite sure that the listeners as well are more comfortable with you when they know a little bit about your background, and I'm hoping to be here myself as well, maybe once a month to deep dive deep dive to inside of EPT and what's happening in inside disc golf.
That would be amazing to have you with us as much as possible. And I hope we didn't scare any of our listeners last time with our weird introductions, but we are happy to be here, and I hope you're happy listening to us. But who are you?
I'm Juha, like introduced. I'm 40, a dad, an entrepreneur, crazy disc golf enthusiast, doing a lot of stuff myself, and hopefully doing stuff with others that they can do what they want to do and be good at. And I found myself disc golf 2010, 11-ish. I moved to Nummela. You probably heard it.
Oh, yeah.
Here in Finland. There was a disc golf course in the backyard, like basically backyard. I was watching like what are those deer feeding devices over there, and I went to somehow I found there were disc golf baskets, and there was a Prisma, like a supermarket close by, and bought a 3-disc set of discs and played once, then another round, went to other course, and now I'm sitting here.
Yeah, the classic story.
Yeah.
Once you start, you cannot stop, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's quite amazing, though, to come from such humble beginnings and to be in the sport for such a short time and to end up where you are now, being such a facilitator of so many beautiful things that you've put into place and put into motion, and all the collaborations and cooperations. So, very, very impressive, everything that you've done, and clear that you have a lot of passion for what you're doing. And what a privilege and an honor to be involved with you and all these endeavors that we're doing.
Inside Disc Golf.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about the European Pro Tour in specific, and how did that come about?
That's also a long story, or it goes way back, like many years back actually. And EPT is one of the like bigger things and goals we've had, not only me, but the heavy involvement of Mikko Wikman, our event manager, is like a key part of the actual tour thing. It started maybe 5 years ago when Mikko was already working with me doing events in Finland, and there was Mikko had a vision and dream to have a tour in Europe or doing events in across Europe, and of course there was some events. We had events in Spain and in Italy already a couple of years ago, and maybe 3 years ago I will say we first started to put pieces together. Like we need a professional tour in Europe, like aiming mainly for professional disc golfers, not just have a fun around Europe, but have a professional only for professionals. At that time, DJPT in US had already started, working quite well, and of course there was a lot of things we could, look how they are doing things, are not how they are not doing things, and what they did, what we shouldn't do.
Yeah.
And at the around same time, PDGA already had the Euro Tour, and at that point there was actually a Euro Pro Tour. Started at 2018 or 2019, something around there. And then we decided to, let's not go more deep into our Pro Tour because something is happening in Europe anyway. And only thing we were having a kind of amateur tour. It was an series of events on that were not aimed for professional players. It was mainly to have an experience. Like it was for amateur players. Of course, pro divisions were there, but it's mainly for, to do, like Tuscany is a good example of disc golf experience. Play disc golf in mountains in Tuscany and have some good food and wine even at the course.
Sounds like a dream.
Yeah, it was, and it was for us. It was mainly to get to know how we can work inside Europe, and then 2020, COVID was already on. Yes, at that time, and we got contacted by Prodigy Disc Europe guys that they want to, do stuff with us. We already started to do media at that time, and they said like, hey, we have an idea that we should do like a professional tour in Europe, like, and you're the guys, like NPDG is the one to do it, and like, well, that's actually funny because we already had that idea years ago, but it was put on the side, and on that point, and still there wasn't similar tour idea in Europe, and there still is not on the same level and the same goals and ambitions and the visions the EPT is working on, and since then, we started trolling. It was first year was just planning and figuring out what to do, asking around from the players, from the TDs, like where the event should be, what to do, traveling to the venues to can we do live, because live streams were like number one media we wanted to be, that it needs to be. If there is no live media from the event, when we are just tossing frisbees on the forest, and that's not a competition, that's not a sport, unless there is media, and especially live media.
Yeah, of course. That's next step in professionalism that you get.
Yeah, and like our NBDG media, when we started 2020, and already then it was live stream first idea. Even that we did post productions, but everything we planned was in mind that we will do live media in the future. We get to know how to film events, how to do where cameras, how we get the cameras there, how to operate them. We tried some live streaming with our own like Finnish podcast we had, and we did all of them live with multi-camera to get to know how to switch cameras, what can go wrong on live streams. And as you know, there's still a lot of things that can go wrong.
Yeah, we have noticed, but there's also a lot of things that can go right.
Yeah, and it's, well, it's like I said, it's multiple years back in the idea of to make it happen, and a lot of planning, a lot of contacts, and there is unfortunately a lot of good events that wanted to be part of the EPT, but they can't be because they are not suitable for the professional disc golf. It might be that it's a remote location, and by remote meaning that there is no like a disc golf scene over there. There is no audience coming to the course at all, or it's too remote that the professionals, when they travel there, it's too expensive and like that. And maybe in the future that's a different story. Or the venue is not suitable because there is no parking at all. and nothing that we could go around it.
All the infrastructure, including signal coverage, and including all the things that it takes to put on such an event, right?
Yeah. And still, of course, like this year's EPT events, some of the places didn't have those. The coverage might be bad, or there's no parking, or it's otherwise remote. But this is the level now, and in the future, it's something else. There, hopefully, some events still can be part of the EPT, even that they are not in the big city center, or well, we can work on the cell signals ourselves. That's already something we will do next year. But this picking up like what events are suitable. It's much more than just, hey, that's a nice course.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of prestige and also just practicality involved when it comes to making those decisions, right?
Yeah.
Inside Disc Golf.
I have a short question. It's probably clear for us and for many of the Finnish listeners, but you mentioned NBDG. We also see those letters on your shirt and on your cap here. What is NBDG? Even
NBDG is mainly my face is connected to it. Like NBDG is our basically our company, our brand, and we do a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
mainly events is our like running disc golf events is the thing. Media nowadays it's mainly known as Disc Golf Stream, but NBDG is handling everything behind there, and we have still some disc and bags and stuff for sale, but that's not what NBDG does. So most likely you will see that is going to fade out and leave that for other, disc stores like Power Grip and well, let's mention Power Grip.
Yeah, that's one of our partners, right?
Yeah. But like they're good at that,
yeah.
So they can do that. We are good at running events. We run good events. We are good of handling media. We will handle media and stuff like that. We're mainly based in Finland, but we have had events across Europe.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about Spain. What was your role in developing that region for disc golf, and maybe a little bit preview about the All-Star event coming up?
The Miha's disc golf course was started, I believe, 2015 or 16. 2016, and in February 2017, we went there for a vacation, first time ever in Spain, and it was supposed to be sun shining and everything you see in the posters, palm trees and beach and warm. And we know that the course was already there, and the Ville Costin, who built the course, invited us to, hey, come here, and we asked like, okay, maybe we should do an event there. This like a PDG event. Yeah, of course, let's do it. And that was actually the first PDG event there.
In Spain or there?
Not in Spain. There was events in Spain.
Okay.
First event in Miha's course. That was actually named. It was not Fuengirola Open that time. It was Monkeys in Miha's.
That's a great name.
And we arrived in Spain. Yeah, it was in the middle of the night, and when you walk out from the airport, you immediately like, yeah, it's warm here when you come from cold Finland. But we were there 8 days, and it was raining 7 days.
Oh no! Is it possible?
And the last day when we were leaving, it was the first time we could actually put on like a t-shirt and shorts. It was a terrible weather, but but back to the event, there was 16 players only at the first event. 16. Few groups. It was 1 day event. We had fun. Still could play disc golf in February.
And those players, were they most like local people from Spain or?
No,
okay.
There wasn't any locals except a couple of Finnish people living there. But then, of course, once again, that was a first kind of get to know what's the place like. Can we have something there. And as you know, and hopefully listeners know, that there was something there. And we decided to do another event on the same 2017 November. And there was like 40 or 60 people or something there, Monkeys in Mihas Volume 2. And after that, we changed the name to Fuengirola Open. And then next year it was like 90 people and then 100 and something. At that point, it already started to be the biggest event in Spain. And I think it still is. And now there's 2 courses on the same location in Mihas, and there's other courses popping up nearby, and it's a sign that, you know, the disc golf is developing there as well.
Yeah, and it's quite a perfect destination for that time of year. It starts to get very cold here, and I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to that All-Star event to play and hopefully come to spectate and be a part. Of course, there's an event the week before for the EPTX, right? So amateurs can come as well and experience that firsthand.
Yeah. Now it's good to make clear that the EPT All-Stars, that's for the EPT players, like the professionals that have. It's an invite-only event, so and you get an invitation by being good enough. And week before that is the Fuengirola Open, which has every division, and you just sign in. I think there is still some spots left, and that's more of the experience side. What we were talking earlier, that there's some events are meant to be an experience and have fun and play disc golf with short, t-shirt and shorts on in November, and between those events, it's the overall idea is that if you come to the Fuengirola Open, you can stay another week and be a tourist. Watch the pros play. There is a paddle tournament. There is some, one round events, and it's kind of like Tyyni. If you have been in Tyyni, you kind of know. Yeah. It's kind of the same, but in Spain and a little bit.
Probably even warmer than summer in Finland, right?
It might be.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah. But you say that it's also possible, right, to qualify for the All-Stars by playing good at the EPTX there in Spain, right?
Yeah. You can actually get the spot to All-Stars by finishing good in the Fuengirola Open.
You hear that, people?
Might be a plan for some.
So it's the top 2 from the MPO and the winner from the
MA1.
Oh yeah, MA1. Sorry, yeah. And then the top FA.
Yeah.
One player as well. So all you people who want to be involved in that All-Star event out there, make sure you sign up for the Fuengirola Open and get yourself there to qualify.
And book a hotel for 2 weeks, not just one, right?
Yeah. It's good to stay, and then there is time to see around, go to Gibraltar, and there are some other good old cities, Spanish cities to tourist around.
Yeah, it's a beautiful part of the world, I can say for sure.
Inside Disc Golf.
And we're gonna have special episode, preview for the All-Star event, so we won't go too deep into that. And I don't want to bounce around too much, but let's go back to the foundation of the EPT and what were the main goals for the players, right? I understand that that it was wanting to create the opportunity for European disc golfers to make a living out of disc golf, and that they could become like true professionals and tour within Europe and not have to supplement income and other things in order to make that happen. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the basic mission of EPT, to to offer the possibility to professional players to practice their profession as they should be. Of course, we cannot do it like this.
Yeah, it's a process.
If we would have 100 million euros money, then we could just pay everybody play disc golf, but that wouldn't be sustainable.
Unless there's a big millionaire out there who wants to be involved and invest in, and then that might be coming sooner than not. But what is the media's role in all that? That's a big thing to set the bar really high for media and bring in more sponsorship, partnerships, income, and all that. So that's where the main focus on the live coverage and the media angle comes from, right?
Yeah, that's media plays, I will say, the biggest part on it. Like said, the goal is for the athletes and it doesn't mean only the event and the prize money in the events. That could be one way to do it, to have a lot of prize money, like every possible income you have, we will put it in the prize money and that's it. But we don't see that that's sustainable, and it's really hard to, where will we get the money if there is no eyes watching it? And
Exactly.
through media, we get a lot of like reach. For example, the total reach of one event, we just put the numbers together. Total reach of Järva, for example, was over 2 million, like 2 million views on different like live
platforms
post-production. We have shows on Finnish TV, all the social media and everything, and that's a lot. Like
especially
that
for
is
the
a lot,
especially for the first year that this is
and
happening.
that is
right?
one event.
Yeah,
only.
for one only. Yeah.
Yeah, and the media, we have of course live, we have post-production, we have a lot of social media stuff made or clipped out of those, but we also have a still photographer going from event to event. The photographs we give, that the players are free to use them, the tour partners are free to use them, so it's also a service for them. They can build their brand, especially the player brand, and we want to, by that we want to be helping the players to build their brands, like through the media. That's why we want to ensure that the media is there on every event, like on every forms, live, post-production, and still photography.
Yeah,
so
it's there to serve the players as well as
Yes.
grow the audience and just get the message out and help everything.
Yeah, because then when the players have their fans, when the fans are not there at the course watching them, they want to watch them remotely.
Yeah, and now it's finally possible to actually do that.
Yeah. And of course, by that we also kind of put the responsibility on the players. Like, what if you want to be a professional disc golfer? It's something you need to do stuff more. You need to, of course, be a good disc golfer. You need to practice. You need to have goals. You need to have vision that, hey, I want to be that. But you also need to build your own brand.
Yeah, a way to attract people's interest and attention, right?
Yeah,
and
it doesn't mean that you have to put on a YouTube channel and make some funny challenges there or do stuff like that. But you need to have social media presence. You need to tell people what you're doing. Like, I'm doing this. This is my thing. I'm going to be EPT champion 2025, and right now I'm doing 1,000 putts a day.
Yeah.
To be a better putter. I'm going on the off season. I'm doing gym so I can be, in better shape and my mind is working better. And then I'm going to see a mental coach to to handle the pressure when I'm on the lead and there is a lot of cameras. There is like live is there, still photographers there. The audience is there, and you know that this putt, if I miss it, it can cost me €1,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure.
That's the difference between being a professional athlete and just a good disc golfer, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's a very important thing, that you're there also for the viewers, not just for yourself in a way.
And this is something like, all of this is what we have. We are discussing those, and we have some plans and ideas how we can help the players with those, to guide the right direction. Maybe in the future on this podcast or some other podcast, there might be like mental coaches telling tips on how to be a better disc golfer, how to be a better athlete, how to handle things, how to practice, and to help that and take some of the like the athletes when they are touring, choosing what events to go. We want to make that easier, to have the tour planned so you can go from good event to another good event to another good event, and hopefully they don't need to worry about registration, like, am I on time, and stuff like that. And we talk with their like their sponsors, like our tour partners, like what we can do to help the players more, that they can actually focus on what they should be focusing on.
Yeah,
being a better disc golfer, being a better athlete.
So that it's up to you guys as the organizers to logistically make it make sense and to be affordable and to be practical and so that it's smooth.
Yeah.
For the touring athlete. Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of dialogue do you have with the players, and what kind of feedback have you gotten from them after these 5 European Pro Tour events that you have had this season?
We of course listen to every player on the events. If they have something to say, they say, and players actually give quite good feedback. I will hope that it will happen more, to have, of course, good feedback, but also like negative feedback. Of course, it needs to be constructive. Like, this was not good because of this, and it will be even better that it might be a good idea to try this or that. Then there's something like actually we can grab onto.
Yeah.
We also sent feedback survey to every player that has played European Pro Tour or signed up for the Turku Open. Wasn't played on that time, but to them who had signed
the first
over
4
there. Yeah. And of course we sent the survey for the fans as well. But discussing with players and listening to them is one of the main things we do. Like how when we plan to do this, of course we cannot please everyone, and there are some players think that the only way to be a professional is that there will be like millions of prize money on the event, and that's the only thing. But that's one way. But I don't see that our sport could grow to that point. Like, of course, not like this, but it needs to be. It's a long way. 100 years.
Sustainable, right?
It also needs to be sustainable. Yeah. And the feedback overall, it's I would say it's not solely positive. There are some negative feedback as well, but it's mainly like, this is exactly what Europe needs. This is what we need as professional players. This is what we need. And the overall, I will say the players see that they don't need to go to US to play disc golf professionally, especially on next year. They don't need to do that. Of course, there are some major events like Worlds, USDGC, maybe Champions Cup are the ones that, because it's a major, they want to go. Just like US players wants to come to European Open. The same thing. But overall, it's not necessary to stay there to play those events, because you can actually make better money in Europe than there, playing on the same level.
Yeah. I guess that right now, at least, it's probably quite a good middle step if you want to go and like play with those like biggest names that are still on the US side of the disc golf world, but just as you say, to have that possibility to do it in Europe and actually make money, that must be a nice thing for the players to actually have that possibility.
Yeah. And there is hopefully we can get the study out, but there's Markku Nirkkonen from Finland actually made a calculation. Like, he lives in Tampere, and if he would travel around Europe to play disc golf events, and he calculated what it cost and what he would get back if we would, be top 3 on every event or top 10 on every event, and what it would cost if he would go to US to do the same and play on the same level. And the overall conclusion was that you will actually be positive playing in Europe, while you will lose a lot of money playing in US.
That's pretty impressive, considering that we're really in the infancy here, and this is the first year, and yet it feels like a big success, and that we've already been able to put it in motion that way, and can be really, really positive for those players.
Yeah, there was hopefully we get it out. It's in work in progress, has been translated and get pictures and everything. They did it for the Power Grip podcast. If you're Finnish-based or understand Finnish, listen to Power Grip podcast episode I think it's season 4, episode 1.
Hosted by Teemu Nissinen.
Teemu Nissinen and Markku Nirkkonen. Yeah, and that included not only EPT events, but also Finnish Pro Tour events, a couple of Euro Tour events, and then there was a couple of just 8-year events, but with good prize money and which makes sense to travel to. So it's overall it was like, what will the touring professional disc golfer look at over there?
Yeah, and the European Pro Tour, it may be quite attractive to U.S. professional players as well, in the sense that it's offering a different cultural experience to come and explore Europe and to see the different venues and different cultures that exist within such a small region. Because like when you travel within the States, it's of course the places are very different when you go, but in Europe, when you travel a short distance, the language changes, the history changes, the culture changes. Do you feel like it might be possible that it might lure in some of the U.S. touring professionals in the coming seasons?
Yeah, there's already we had the talk with Scott Stokely. Well, not anymore the top touring professional on
still
on
a
US,
living
but
legend.
Still, still a living legend and tours. Lives in a hotels, drives thousands of kilometers a day by a car and living the touring life. He wants to come to Europe to play the EPT events, some other Euro events as well, and his goal is to go to as many countries as possible to see the cultures and because it's quite different than that in US. If you travel, of course the scenery changes. You can be in a flat Kansas when there is the biggest hill is like there is no hills at all. Or you can be in Colorado where it's mountains or either of the coasts when there's the sea and everything. But in Europe, in a really short distance, and of course the scenery changes, but the culture as well, because you might be in a place where nobody speaks English at all. And that's
don't even need to go that far for that.
And that's also it's not the most convenient for somebody to travel and cannot communicate, but it's refreshing to try to order that coffee and you're like.
It's a very valuable experience, I think, for anybody to step outside their comfort zone and to experience the world in a different way.
Yeah, and by that I of course meant like restaurants and stuff like that, not the events. Like if you go to an EPT event, you're fine with English.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's some understanding. Yeah.
And on that level, what kind of support do you offer the touring players when it comes to like the situation? I mean, are there anything? Is there anything that you can do to make their experience more comfortable and convenient?
We try to gather all the information with the local organizing committees, the TDs and stuff, like if there's where to stay, where to eat. That's pretty well for some people it's basic stuff, but not all the tournaments do that. And we of course try to, like, we're based in Finland. We don't know what's the best place to eat in Denmark, for example, in Copenhagen. We can name few places that we've been to, but the locals know better. Yeah. So we kind of, we want to make it happen, and we, how do you say, push them, recommend, and
you basically communicate and coordinate with the locals and then try to process that information and communicate it to the players.
And anytime we hear feedback or question like, should this be, then every time that's a question, we want to put it up somewhere. The answer needs to be put up somewhere. And but overall we want to make the playing, the registration, everything as easy for the players as possible. So there is like a tour pass is coming. You can sign up to every event at once. And if there's anything you need to ask, you can ask, and most likely you will get answers right away instead of you don't know when you're going to get an answer. And because we do it for the players.
Yeah, and that seems to be what a lot of the feedback from the press conference and from social media that I understand is that people are really appreciating the level of professionalism that you're bringing to the scene here in Europe, and it seems like a very important first step in the right direction for the future.
Yeah, there is things like we want to make sure that like all the, if you need to pay taxes, the taxes are paid, or you know, like usually it's like some local income tax things that are they might be even new things for the TDs or the players, like why, if I won 1,000 euros, why do I get only 850? And then, but hey, this is local, like in Finland it's 15%. We need to take the tax out of the money, and we pay the tax for the local tax authorities. And I think in Sweden it's 30% or 25% or something
like that. Yeah,
and of course we would want to give the full money to players if that's possible, but
you need to abide by
the
laws.
world doesn't
follow the laws.
Yeah, the world doesn't run by that.
No.
And that's one of the things, to be professional and to be sustainable, to make sure all of these things like have all the regulations and laws are followed, and you know, to have a permit to have the event there, and if somebody comes to sell food, we ask like, okay, you need to get your permit to that it's allowed, and like stuff like that they don't necessarily, the events might even look like just any other event there is, but there's a lot of happening on behind the scenes that not necessarily anybody knows. On EPT, of course, we are really visual. We show up, there's live, there's post-production, a lot of social media, and so that already stands out for the audience that are not there. But there's a lot of happening on behind the scenes, and we, with the experience we have at NPDG running thousands of events, there is like, we can already see something. We look at the list, the schedule, for example, we'll see, okay, that doesn't work. We know that the most likely there will be a problem. Let's say there's only 3 hours of daylight, but we know that it will take longer than 3 hours to finish the round in any case on only one backup, and it's 30 minutes more. You know, stuff like that you don't necessarily.
These are things you have learned by experiencing those things before. Yeah.
And there is a lot of those type of things that you can actually, it stands out when you read the tournament information. You could see like, okay, that most likely there will be a problem with that.
Yeah, and all that experience only grows with all the more experience that you get running the events and operating on such a professional level.
Yeah, and there is still like really new things popping up, like new problems that you wouldn't ever expecting. Like in one funny thing happened in Copenhagen when we were setting up the flags and banners and tents and, you know, everything up. Let's set up. This is a big event here, and then the one of the cities like park manager or something came up and said like, you're too big. You stand out too much. Like there's, you know, too much of
too many flags and
too
stuff,
many
like
flags and everything, and we're like, that's only half we put up already.
We're just getting started here, sir.
Yeah, but we want to be visual.
Yeah.
No, we are there, and now they of course know, and it was fine. But
did you
was
need
also,
to go and take those things down?
No.
Okay,
But that was also something they were not expecting. This type of event, like there is a big disc golf event, like there has been past 15-20 years over there at the same location, but then when we do it on the next level, then it's already there, and we didn't expect like that somebody could say like that. I think that's never heard in disc golf, like there's too much, like you're too visual.
Optically, that's
I guess that's a problem when you're in somewhat of a public park, like there in Copenhagen at least. But
but now they know, like
exactly,
now they know that it's that type of event.
Yeah.
They expect the normal disc golf event, not like if there is like marathons or the running events usually are quite, visual. You see them from far away, like, okay, there's something happening there. But disc golf hasn't been that at all.
No,
like
not yet.
If European Open would be set up in some other place, they would also be like, what? But the disc golf event used to be like there was one tent and maybe one flag, and that's it. But now this is like a circus here.
That I want to keep on talking a bit about that, because I think it's interesting. It happens very easily that disc golf becomes like its own bubble, that we are looking at ourselves and seeing when we are commenting, for example, it's easy for us to use certain terms that only disc golf nerds know what they mean, and we need to think about people watching for the first time. How much are you working with the public awareness of these tournaments and inviting normal media and outside of the disc golf world to these events? Is that something that is something you're working with?
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
In the future, but this year, the first season, we didn't really want to focus on that. We just wanted to make sure that all the events are run and run professionally. We have all the necessary new information, what's going to pop up, like angry park managers for us being too visual. And but it's something, actually at Turku Open, there was a local outside media as well there, even that we didn't invite them. But in the most likely next season already, we will do our best to invite the outside media to the press conference as well, to ask questions, take photos, to interview the players. The Turku event was quite nice that they interviewed the local stars and what they're expecting out of the event, and players outside of Finland. Well, in that case, one player outside of Finland, but still to have the opportunity there. We didn't want to do it at the first year because we were not sure how the whole press conference and what where they are, hosted at, because we weren't sure should we do it at directly at the course or maybe inside somewhere, or how to do it. But now we have a better idea of what we can do and what we can't do, or what we will do or what we should do or shouldn't do.
You can communicate that more clearly to the wider outside audience, and I think that's something that has to happen quite naturally as well. That there has to be the interest. You can't force it upon anybody from other aspects, but it's also a great way to involve the community in a wider way and a better way to get people more interested in what's happening there in their local area and everything.
Yeah, now we have more name under the brand, if they check up, what is this?
Right, they can find out better.
They can find out what's
going
happening and see okay, this is what they invited us to, and maybe these articles and stuff. And when there is actual numbers that, hey, at this event, the reach was over 2 million views on different.
Yeah, maybe they can start to see the value.
Okay.
They can realize that it's a bigger thing than they imagined.
It's clear what the product is that you're providing, that you can show it in numbers.
Yeah, and you set a precedent for a way that it operates and stuff as well.
So it was, we were aware of the not inviting to all the press there. So it was a decision made by ourselves, just to, make sure when we try to climb up the ladder, the shorter the steps are, it's easier to get up.
Yeah.
If you put too high gap between there, it doesn't work.
But nice to hear that one step has been taken, at least there in Turku, that it's starting to get a little bit attention from other medias as well.
Yeah, without any, we didn't need to do anything. They just pop out hey, we noticed that this type of big event is here. So they wanted to come and do some articles and interview the players.
Good to hear.
Inside Disc Golf.
We're kind of getting near to the end. Is there anything really important that you want to convey to the audience still, or any discussion that you'd like to continue?
I think we will leave a lot of stuff to future episodes. We will do the deep dive.
Deep diving. So how to say that?
deep diving into the future on the upcoming episodes. And at this point, of course, just want to thank you guys for doing fantastic work on the commentary booth, like our Finnish commentaries as well. And of course, all the people at home watching, listening to this and all the other disc golf stream.
We really appreciate it all. Yeah, all the support.
Stuff, because like this podcast, this is provided by the disc golf stream subscribers, the paying monthly or annual subscribers. And if you are not yet subscribing to disc golf stream, this is a good time. Even if the off season starts, there is a All Stars event and some stuff on the winter coming up, not much, and this podcast is of course free to listen to all platforms. But if you want to subscribe, I recommend doing annual subscription and using a code INSIDE.
Okay, great. We're launching a promotion right here and now.
Promotion code, so you get 50% off, half off the annual subscription. So if you subscribe now, you will get the whole next year in a half price.
That's a very good.
You hear that, folks?
Good offer. So yeah,
good offer. So if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now.
And I guess there's going to be quite a lot of exciting things happening next year. Also, let's maybe not deep dive into that yet.
Not deep dive yet.
No, but also with your annual subscription, you'll be able to go back and watch all the stuff that we've done this year as well, and you can do dive deep into what we've already done and explore that more. And it's been a really exciting season. We've had dramatic finishes in every single event. There's been storylines popping up that you could have never expected from everywhere. The players are getting younger and better. There's players that have been around for a long time that have performed incredibly well and shown why they're legends. And yeah, it's just been incredibly fun and exciting. And I would really recommend, if you're not subscribed, to do that, and especially with that great promo code. It's a really good value for. Yeah.
And then the thank yous didn't stop there, because then there's of course the players playing at the events, spectators at the course, and mainly this. If you're watching a video, you'll see the big partner wall behind us. All of these partners, all of the upcoming partners, I would love to give you, something about the discussions we are having.
We're
in the
dying to hear about it, yeah.
But let's just put it this way. What happened with the press at Turku is now happening with partners on the whole EPT. So it's we have done some good work. And with the help of the existing partners and with the help of the future partners, we have some new partners like Whale Sacks just came in. I'm actually holding first run EPT Whale Sack, and my hands are sweaty.
Where can you get those?
Not anymore.
We might need those in the studio sometimes, right?
Where can you get those?
We will find a place where you can get these in the future. Yeah. But right now, if you want a free European Pro Tour Whale Sack signed by Tina and Eric Oakley, you have a chance to win this by how?
What's the best way?
What's the best way? Now you should have to comment somewhere, but where do we find a place to comment?
You can, of course, always send us an email on inside@europeanprotour.com. Send us your best, any good questions, any wishes for potential guests here in the podcast in the future.
Clear rule. Send an email inside@europeanprotour.com. Any email. It's good to have some actual content in. So if you have a feedback, question, idea, whatever, send an email.
Cool Ace video maybe.
Yeah, by end of October.
It's a good time limit. Yeah,
and after that we will raffle 5 of these, or different type of kind
whale
of
sacks.
Whale Sacks, EPT branded Whale Sacks, and
that's really cool.
That's how we did it.
Yeah,
we didn't know what to do.
We just came up with that in the moment, but I think that seems to make a lot of sense, and we do really value all that feedback and even potential criticism. We're really trying to do the best we can for you and for this whole thing. So anything that you can think of that you want to share with us, we'll be happy to have that information. So
we want to keep this as interactive as possible with all you viewers and listeners. So please come with your wishes and criticism and everything, whatever you can think of.
Yeah. You already noticed there in the future there's EPT All-Stars episodes coming, but is there something else we can expect?
Yeah,
players
hopefully
maybe
we will
coming.
get some interesting players here from this season that we have seen here on Disc Golf Stream. That's still a work in progress, but I hope we get some of them. We are going to talk more about the events, what happened, what we have seen, and what we might expect in the future as well. So there's a lot of things.
Yeah, and if
we
you
can
think
talk about.
if you think you would make a good guest, please contact us, and we'd be happy to have you on if it's possible. So that's also a way that we can find good guests. If you feel like you have something to contribute to this, then we would certainly consider having your input and your presence here.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thanks on my side, and
yeah.
I will be back in few episodes, and when there is a correct spot for me.
You beat me to it. Thank you so much for showing up here. Sorry for interrupting you there.
No, I just wanted to say thank you for being here, and thank you for everything you've done to make this happen. We really appreciate it.
But I guess let's wrap it up for today.
All right.
Been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be back soon.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you come on back for episode 3. Thank you very much, everybody, and that's all. Andrew Gum here.
Viktor Tågestad here.
And Juha Kytö here, saying goodbye.
Signing off. Bye-bye.
Inside Disc Golf, the European Disc Golf podcast. Everything about European Disc Golf in one podcast.